Great big old crime scene, says Congresswoman Elise Stefanic. She is accusing the Cuomo administration of hiding records, covering up, committing crimes at the highest levels of New York State government. She refers to it as a culture of corruption beyond all recognition. You see, Miss Elise Stefanic, I've been saying this about New York State for, 40 or 50 years. You see, when they get caught, the first thing they do is they hide all the records. They destroy all the records. They erase all the records. And they lie, cheat, and steal, and they even murder. They even kill people to shut them up. Particularly when they're flushing huge amounts of sewage and pig shit and poultry shit and every other kind of imaginable industrial shit into Lake Champlain, the Richelieu River, and the St. Lawrence Seaway. Great big huge criminal cover-up, Miss Elise Stefanic. Flushing, drawing down. Let's talk about the flushing, the drawing down of Lake George for decades. 6,000 septic systems, Miss Stefanic, 6,000 septic systems in the Lake George bowl. The bowl, the basin, the bowl, the tub, the Lake George tub. Isn't that what they call it, David Wick? Like a pinhole in a bathtub. That's what the Lake George Park Commission director, David Wick, calls it, a bathtub. 6,000 septic systems in the Lake George bathtub. Tom West, lawyer for Fund for Lake George and the Lake George Association. Don't forget to put your pinky up in the air. The Lake George Association. Luke Dow of the Lake George Steamship Company there. The boats on the big bathtub full of septic. Squeezing, septic tea from the 6,000 septic systems that are drowning Lake George in sewage. The harmful algae blooms. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. The bottom of the lake is as green as a leprechaun's hat. Now, Miss Stefanic, large crime scene, covering up, hiding records at the highest levels of state government. A great big criminal conspiracy and cover-up. Well, that's what they've been doing concerning the flushing of Lake George. Glen Lake residents know doggone well what I'm talking about. And all those people that live around the 480 sewer overflow pipes in Manhattan, and the people in New Rochelle and New Jersey, all the sewage that gets dumped into New York Harbor by the state of New York and the Hudson River, everybody understands it just fine. In fact, Miss Stefanic, they're dumping sewage all over America in gargantuan quantities every day, poisoning America's waterways. Just like New York State Department of Environmental Conservation knows damn well what's going on Lake George and Lake Champlain. Flushing, drawing down, flushing, whatever you want to call it, David Wick. You're flushing, you're diluting the pollution. You're dumping the sewage into Champlain, David Wick. That's great compliance with the Clean Water Act. It's supposed to be drinkable and swimmable rivers and lakes. Drinkable. Which brings me to a point. Nobody's bottling fresh, unadulterated, not treated in any fashion at all, Lake Champlain water. Why can't you buy Lake Champlain water on the shelf at the supermarket, David Wick? Or, Lake George water. Where's the bottled Lake George water that hasn't been filtered or sanitized or, run through a treatment plant? Where's the fresh, right out of the Lake George water for everybody to drink? Tom West. Come on, Tom West. Drinkable. Yeah, right. Man, you guys are so. I mean, you're more full of crap than Lake Champlain and the St. Lawrence Seaway and the Great Lakes. But to close this one out, dear Sheriff James LaFar, you see why my father protested? You see why they drug him off and slammed him in a jail cell? Because they were flushing Lake George during ice cover. During the ice cover where it was destroying Clifford and Anita Witham's marina year after year after year after year after year. From 1965 to 1970, the old drawdown, the old flushing of Lake George, to dilute the sewage, David Wick. The flushing, the drawdown, the flushing. Sheriff James LaFar. And to Elise Stefanic, it goes way beyond the nursing home fiasco. It goes way beyond the negligent criminal homicides of New York State's senior citizens' homes. Andy Cuomo is a douchebag, a lying, cheating criminal, Miss Stefanic, and so isn't Basil Sagos of Department of Environmental Conservation and the State Health Department director and them goofballs up at Raybrook, New York. Let them explain the drawdown, the flushing, the drawdown flushings of Lake George, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, all the links and information you need are below. And to my friend over at Wilmington in the federal court, Judge Myers, corroborating the proof of the massive sewage fiasco, the massive sewage debacle in the United States, the corroboration for it's everywhere, Judge Myers. That's a fantastical story, isn't it, Terrence Boyle? Come on, Terrence Boyle and Judge Smith. Come on. I think it's Joe Smith, Judge Joseph Smith. They're from Greensboro, North Carolina. What a fantastical story that Elise Congresswoman Stefanic is telling. Tom West, we'll be seeing you, Tom West.